Atau
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this debate. The motion for debate today is the House believes that full-day system. Now we ask today proposition. Strongly believe that is that this motion is true that education needs a full-day system. Indonesia is one of the highest paid country in the world where the young generation is the nation hope to develop the quality of the country and hopefully they will also get the highest education. But in the era of globalization, it has changed the way people think, which ends to abandon Eastern culture. At this time, education becomes important. The quality of current education in Indonesia is very apprehensive. This is proven by UNESCO data on 2000 about the ranking of the Human Development Index, namely the composition of the ranking of achievement of education, health, and income per head. In fact, Indonesian Human Development on 2016, Professor Dr. Muhajir Effendi as Minister of Education and Culture initiated a full-day school system for basic education, elementary and junior high school, either for public or private school. The reason is that children are not alone when their parents are still working, and with this full-day school system, children will gradually build their character and not go hazardous outside of school when their parents are still working. Full-day school means an education system to apply the learning or teaching and learning by combining a full day of intensive teaching system by adding hours of lesson for deepening the subject matter as well as self-development and creativity. Implementation of the study conducted in school starting from early morning until late afternoon on a regular basis in accordance with the program at every level of education. Full-day school applies a basic concept of integrated activity and integrated curriculum. This model distinguishes it from school in general. In a full-day school, all programs and activities of students at school, whether studying, playing, worshiping, are packaged in an education system. The point of emphasis at full-day school is that students always excel in learning in a quality learning process, which is expected to bring about positive change from each individual student as a result of the process and activities in learning. Play school, in addition to aiming at developing quality management of education, the main thing is fully school aims as an effort to foster student faith and morale and instill positive values. Full-day school also provide a strong foundation in learning in all aspects, namely intellectual, physical, social, and emotion development. So, education need the full-day system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Dwi Wanda as a Prime Minister. Now we move to Ayuni as a leader of opposition.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, now I will share some of my arguments against the team regarding full day school. Judging from the argument, the team said that in full day school, homework was eliminated. Homework is not eliminated only to change its purpose and disguise the homework, because in some subjects that have a small time allocation, only 2 hours a week is not enough for children to master the material as a whole. Homework is still given only to add to the knowledge that is lacking during learning hours, so it won't take up a lot of kids' free time. Furthermore, our arguments against these motions is that the education system in Indonesia still has unresolved problems. The full-day school system is not suitable to be applied in Indonesia because of the lack of facilities and infrastructures. According to David in 2011, new plans and strategies can be implemented properly if these strategies are in line with exciting environmental conditions, both internally and externally. Likewise with full-day schools, which are widely used by developed countries, where the full-day school system must be in harmony with other educational systems, both formal and non-formal, and external components of education. If the if the components cannot be managed properly, the full-day school which is successfully implemented in Europe will certainly not have the same results as the implementation in Indonesia. According to Mulyadi in Tempo, school infrastructure facilities must be taken into consideration in implementation of full-day school. Most schools in Indonesia do not yet have adequate facilities and make it comfortable for students to linger in school. In several schools that have implemented full-day school, many children are stressed because of the unfriendly way of packaging. Some of the reasons FDS was not implemented successfully they are: the first is full-day learning requires physical and psychological readiness. If not ready, students will be bored and even frustrated. Children cannot think clearly. Concentration of learning to be torn between the affairs of the stomachache and the brains that can no longer think. Even if students eat lunch, this is not a solution. If FDS is forced, then what will happen is in that the children will be sleepy and bored at school. The second, children will lose a lot of time to learn about living with their families at home. In addition to hanging out with family at home, social activities in the community are also reduced. Not a few children who every afternoon have to do activities at the mosque or sports. In addition, children's playing time is also reduced or even not existent. The third is the FGS concept also narrows the students' interaction space with the environments outside of school, such as family and friends. Children need to interact with peers at school, in the neighbor, and with family at home. Elementary school age children really need time to play for their mental and physical growth and development. If you have to spend all day at school, your children childhoods will be snatched away. The fourth, the role of children's characters education is not only at school but also at home, in the parents' house, and the environment that teaches about character education and the culture of these nations. If children have to spend all day at school, the character education that has been taught by parents at home is reduced, even not existent. Children are very tired when the parents want to instill education at home in accordance with the wishes of the family. For example, when children learn the Quran is reduced, even not existent. The fifth is FDS costs more than a 6-day school. School until 17 p.m. of course will require more pocket money. Students must get good nutrition, not just eat. The brain is squeezed until the afternoon if you only eat but like then it will not be useless to study at all day. The sixth, FDS requires adequate school facilities. In fact, not all schools in Indonesia have adequate facilities. There is a height gap between school facilities in urban and rural areas, especially schools in remote areas. The seventh, the burden of teachers is increasing with the existence of FDS. Teachers are also humans, not robots. So if the burden on their shoulders is too heavy to have to teach until the afternoon, it will make teachers' psychological and physical burden to decrease. Before starting the line-up, the teacher has prepared from teaching, planning to evaluation. This takes a lot of time. Not infrequently, teachers have to do it outside of working hours. Of example, at home. If teacher has to teach, then does the teacher have proper preparation for time teaching preparation. In contrast to employees, even tough, they have to work until the afternoon and even at night they do not need time to prepare for work planning. Teachers also have families that must be considered, not just all day taking care of other people's children. While their own children are less of even neglect. And last, the teacher also have the burden of social responsibility in community. This happens a lot in rural areas. Not infrequently, teachers in the community become community leaders who become role models of residents in their homes. If you have to spend all day at school, social responsibility in society will be reduced. That's all from me. Thank you.
Time is over.
Alright, thank you for the leader of the opposition. Now let's move to Deputy of Prime Minister. For Nadia, time is yours.
Ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will explain some of the argument that the Speaker of the Opposition team said, namely that children will lose a lot of time learning about living with their families at home. In addition to gathering with family at home, social activities in the community are also reduced. He also claims that full-day school also narrows the student interaction space with the environment outside of school, such as family and friends. On the other hand, our team claims that full-day school is one of the efforts to reduce children's delinquency outside school, early marriage, and dropping out of the school. School activities that already crowded cause energy to be drained at school. This leads to the benefits of attending other full-day school system. This leads most of energy and consideration of student has been spent on useful things, namely at school. So students have no more time to think about other things. Then the number of student delinquency outside school, early marriage, dropouts, and can be reduced. Most of student active time is spent at school. Ultimately, interacting with friend and teacher is increasing. Reducing the meaningful distance between teacher and student is a full day benefit then that can be felt in the school environment. Many teacher and student cannot socialize because of the short duration of the school. This creates a distance can be detrimental to both parties. On the other hand, with a closer relationship, the two can support each other in the teaching and learning process. Another benefit of full day school is the children can fully enjoy free time with family at home, plus a day off on Saturday. Implementation of full day school will make students stay for 8 hours in school. With students staying at school, teacher will more easily monitor student activities. His behavior will also be more easily controlled in the school environment. This also provides the benefits of discipline at school so that students can avoid bad influence from the outside environment. With the extension of school time, students can do work at school plus there is assistance from the teacher. At home, children only need to repeat listen without having to work hard on assignment. In addition, parents can also focus on character education and life. Apart from that, children can also enjoy 2 days off in 1 week, namely Saturday and Sunday. Next, I will continue our argument to support this motion. The full-day school system aims to reduce children association outside of school, keep children away from the negative influence of their home and environment when they live. The rise of delinquency that occurs today makes parents worry about their children's association. The implementation of full-day school can be an alternative to overcome various educational problems, but in terms of achievement and in terms of moral character, the application of full-day school is an alternative solution for the educational revolution to the problem that occur in the world of education. Full-day school is a term for a learning process that the carried out in full. Per children, learning activities are out more at school than at home. The teaching and learning process is carried out in the morning until the afternoon. The basic concept of full day school is the same as Islamic education, but the application aims to use time by doing useful things. This is a manifestation of unlimited learning. Islamic education is an effort to guide the growth and development of student personality so that they live in accordance with Islamic teaching. Education is one of the discussion in the Al-Quran. The Al-Quran is the word of good, which is then used as a way of life for Muslim in which there is no doubt in it. It contains basic teachings concerning all aspects of human life, including education. The Quran can be used an inspiration to be developed in order to build quality education. By attending full day school, parents can be prevent and neutralize the possibility of children activities and lead to negative activities. According to Swapati and Suyanto 2014, the objective of implementing the full day school system learning are as follow. Number one, the number of parental activities that result in a lack of attention to children, especially those relate to children activities after school. Number two, advances in science and technology are so fast that if not observed, it will have a negative impact, especially from communication technology. Number three, effort to improve time efficiency. Number four, sociocultural change that occur in society from an agrarian society to an industrial society. This change clearly affects the mindset of the community. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the Deputy of Prime Minister. Now let's move to Deputy of Leader of Opposition. For Putri, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Full day school is either a school all day long or a teaching learning process in effect from morning to evening with a duration of a break every 2 hours. In this way, the school and school day, the study fairly adjusted to the weight of the subject and supplement by material pondering. The first thing in full day school is class and in-depth studying. Expresses his opinion on full day school is a school that is partly assessed for learning program that are informal, non-rigid, fun to students, and require credential and information for teachers. In this case, adheres to a study that states that the child's study time is merely 3 and 5 hours a day in formal setting and 7 and 8 hours a day in formal setting. The 2003 National Education System. Education is a conscious and planned effort to realize the learning process in order to enable learners to actively develop their own potential for spiritual power, self-resistance, personality, intelligence, national and state skill. By referring to the education, understanding full day school is a service program that can approach the goals of developing the student potential as expressed. Indonesian economic growth in the second quarter of 2008 was expected to reach 6,3%, he said. The purpose of the formal school is more to disprove the state's fetching studies and the pursuit of diplomas, while teachers are more likely to give abstract lesson to learners, and many give assignment the trained learners about the lesson learned before. It's a fully school system. It's applied without any preference to all education patterns. It will add to the complexity of achieving the goals of one. It will add even more weight to both learners and teachers in the learning activities at school. The full day school system is actually one that has long been adopted by industrialized nations such as Singapore, Korea, Britain, and several other development countries. The system has a central purpose for improving to for facilitating greater compatibility between family life and career. According to Indonesian Minister of Education and Culture, Muazir Effendi, with this full-day school system, children will slowly awaken their character and not go will outside school when their parents are not home from work. He also implements standard of education, Finlandia's standard of education, that police the school education system successful creativity, human resources, and successful with character education. School in school infrastructure school infrastructure should also be a confidential of full day school application. Most schools in Indonesia have not yet had adequate facilities and one comfortable for long-term students. It will make school quality character education a better help and bring a saturation to learners. The school has also the potential to undermine a scale rig to play, the rig to race, and the rig to education. In some schools that have implemented for the school, many education people are stressed by the way the packaging is not friendly. Full day school lacking factor and dispensable in the education process, and full day school application is not based on the on of the factor described in application of the school system. First, the limitation of plan and infrastructure. Two, for the school application weakness is still of full day second system. For example, first of all, full day school system often burden with burden when children are saturated, especially if they have a problem with a teacher, the stress and physical fatigue and lead to illness.
Okay, time is over.
Okay, Putri, the time is over. Thank you for your argument. Okay, thank you all. Putri, can you turn off the microphone first?
Apa?
Terima kasih semuanya telah melakukan debat. Ini videonya sudah saya rekam.